Hi, everyone. Do you remember some of your first chatbot experiences? What were they like? Were they fun? Maybe frustrating? I see some nods, okay? Well, in the last couple of years, we really witnessed a remarkable evolution of chatbots. So I guess your first experiences would look something like this, with a rule-based bot that was capable of understanding only predefined inputs and providing only scripted answers. And then we moved on to more sophisticated solutions that were able to better understand users' intent, that were actually using natural language processing, and finally, culminating with Gen AI powered bots that are capable of understanding any user input and answering any query. So ChatGPT and large language models have undoubtedly revolutionized the world of chatbots. They made us close off these memories of the past experiences and open up to embracing the benefits of conversational AI. We've seen users' expectations have increased, we've seen clients' requirements have changed, and also the process of chatbot implementation has changed too. So suddenly it seemed as if every brand wanted to harness this appeal of ChatGPT, as if it was some kind of magic wand for instant solutions that everybody will immediately love to use. And it seemed we've jumped from this world of meticulously designed conversations into the one where integration with ChatGPT alone would be sufficient. Surely it brought us amazing benefits. More natural, human, smoother conversation. We've seen quicker learning, faster implementation, enhanced understanding. However, we've seen some downsides too. We've seen some too long, unstructured answers that were maybe not adapted to the channel of communication, wrong answers, hallucinations, and we've faced this inability to be 100% in control of the information that the user will receive. So technology has evolved, but one thing remained the same: our desire for meaningful and engaging interactions. So how do we create those meaningful, engaging conversations in the era of Gen AI? Is it only about the fastest and the smartest chatbots? Or is it maybe about some principles that should be inherited by this new generation and might be even critical for its success? Well, before we answer these questions, let's see what we can learn from the nature. So meet the peacock. Beautiful bird that has been around for 120 million years. And we're all amazed by its vibrant, colorful tail, yet Charles Darwin, the father of the evolution, stated actually that just the sight of a feather in peacock's tail made him physically sick. So why was that? Why that aversion? Because something that's so pretty, but at first so useless, was completely against his theory of natural selection. So why would something that actually restricts this bird's mobility, makes it more conspicuous to predators, why would it exist throughout all these years? And the answer is very simple now, today. We know it. It's because it makes this peacock attractive to females, because it signals that this male is healthy. So what nature tells us is that for the evolutionary success of the species, it's not only about these traits that ensure physical survival, but we need also the ones that ensure attractiveness and that signal trustworthiness. So now coming back to chatbots, and well, we're hoping that this millions of years of evolution makes sense. We might ask ourselves, how do we make chatbots attractive? How do we make them successful? What makes them not only survive, but also thrive? And there's one harsh truth that most of our clients don't always like to hear. And it's summarized perfectly by a quote of Dale Carnegie, who said, "People aren't interested in you, they're interested in themselves." So any user that comes to your chatbot comes with their own needs, with their own expectations, with some job to be done. And fulfilling or even exceeding those needs and expectations is actually fundamental for chatbot success. However, it's not the only thing. So the research has shown that in contacts with customer support, users not only value getting quick and easy and fix and resolution, but they also value the empathy. They also value feeling genuine interest in their issue and getting sincere apology if things went wrong. So what we need to do, we need to start with customer experience and then work our way to the technology. The process that I'm about to show you today of conversational design is actually technology agnostic. You can apply it to any type of the bot, but of course we'll see today how ChatGPT integration makes our lives much, much easier. And as Peacocks tell, it might at first seem unnecessary, pointless, restrictive, effortful, but at the end it's what ensures chatbot success. So let's go through these 5 steps of the process. And our conversation design journey usually begins with defining goals and outcomes. When we are working with a clients, external or internal, this is the first step that we do. So in this first step, we ask our clients 3 main questions. First one is why. So why do you want to have this chatbot? How can we bring the value with this chatbot not only to the client, but also to the users? The second question is what? So we like to ask our clients just to describe this in one sentence, so to see if they already have some kind of expectations or visions that we need to consider. And the third one is how. How do we measure success? So which target outcomes do we want to achieve with this chatbot? Which metrics do we want to measure at the end? So this is the step where we might find out if this chatbot should be purely sales bot, maybe customer support, should it increase engagement? This is in this step we might also find out if it needs to be on multiple channels. So we are really setting the stage, aligning the expectations, and this is one of the main steps that will then drive the definition of use cases and the design itself. So for example, most of our clients want to have chatbot that's very engaging, so very conversational, where users will interact a lot with it. However, we also had clients who said, no, I want my user who comes to this chatbot to resolve the issue in ideally one interaction. So there are differences, and this is why we need to align them on this first step. Then we are going to the users. So we want to know who are these target users, who are the people that at the end will be using our chatbot. It may be, as we worked on some projects, a farmer in Africa, it may be business owner in United States, or patient in India. All of them have their own needs, they have some motivations, they have some pain points that we want to address. And it's important that we understand the way they currently communicate. Which communication channels do they use at all? Which languages do they use at the end? And are there some barriers that actually would make them not use these chatbots, such as some trust issues, data privacy concerns? We had an example where we did a bot in Ghana for Bolt drivers. And in that bot, which was a WhatsApp chatbot, actually we needed to incorporate audio messages, because that's the way people there are used to communicate over WhatsApp, and this is something that's natural to them. So try to remember that any solution actually that we are implementing, any new product that's coming, is in some way trying to influence the user's behavior or change their habits. So this is why it's important that we try to close this gap between our solution and users to enhance and ensure the adoption. In the third step, we are finally coming to the use cases. So the use cases actually is what the bot will do. And here, as in many other situations in life, Pareto principle works well, because at the end, it has been shown that 80% of the users will use just 20% of the use cases. And these are your key use cases. The use case you define, when you define them, they will then drive the technical solution. They will drive the technology. And I'll give you the example. So maybe you've seen around here, there is Maggie chatbot. Maggie is chatbot for cardiovascular patients. And patients can input their blood pressure values in the bot. Maggie analyzes them and gives them some feedback amongst other functionalities. So if this blood pressure value is high, if it is critical, Maggie is guiding them through very well defined, medically approved hypertension protocol. So you can imagine in this case, you cannot risk, you don't want to risk, you really want to be in control of each and every answer, each and every sentence that this patient will receive. Also in this case, you might imagine that the patient is in distress. You don't want them maybe to type too much to find their way around the bot. So you need to think how to make it easy for them. And on the other side, we might have some customer support chatbot, which needs to quickly learn vast amount of information from product information or to delivery terms, where this chatbot is constantly attacked by users with multiple questions, with some complaints. And in this case, you want a bot that can quickly learn, that can understand very well this user's query, provide them human answer, provide them more concise yet still detailed answer in this way. And if you have some agent as a fallback in this case, then you are a bit more flexible. Even if the bot cannot cover some cases, it can hand it over to the agent. And these are some of the use cases that we've implemented, and we've seen that ChatGPT integration works really, really well. So the use cases drive the technology. This is the fourth step of the process, and this one is usually the hardest for our clients. This is defining chatbot persona. Why is it important? So look at this picture. What do you see? It's just a circle and 3 lines. But I'm sure that most of you see a face. And not only face, you see an emotion. So you can imagine what the user who interacts with your chatbot can think of it, can think in their head. And you can be sure that if you don't define chatbot persona, your user will. And you want to be in control of that. So well-defined chatbot persona usually aligns with brand's tone of voice. It conveys the emotion that you want to have. You can define if you want your chatbot to be more professional, if you want it to be more friendly, more caring, if you wanted to use emojis. Maybe there are some forbidden emojis. We had also these kinds of requirements by clients. So this is really where you are setting this tone of voice that needs to be aligned with the brand, and it helps to differentiate the brand. In this case, what we have seen is that actually ChatGPT makes our lives really, really easier. And yeah, I need to thank our developers who exposed actually a lot of these parameters so that we don't need to write the prompts ourselves as conversation designer on our chatbot platform answers. So you can really define the chatbot name, its purpose, tone of voice that you want it to have. You can play around with some parameters such as temperature to control the randomness, the creativeness of the answer. And you probably don't want your chatbot, who is a banking chatbot, to sound the same as if you were building a bot for tennis tournament or some event. So well-defined chatbot persona helps to convey the emotion and drives this tone of voice. And now we're coming to the content, and this is actually the part of the process that changed the most for us as conversation designers. Because what we used to do, we really used to write the scripts like really word by word what the chatbot will say. Now, of course, this part is much, much easier. But still, whatever the technology is behind it, we need to follow some basic principles of human interaction. So starting some conversation, you probably want to, if the user greets you, yeah, you want to greet the users. You want this message to be personalized. So if you already know something about this user, you can use this data. Of course, in this case, you don't want to greet the same way the user who came to your bot for the first time or the one that is a returning user and you already know them. One thing our clients ask us a lot, this is the requirement that the user cannot distinguish if they are talking with a bot or with a human. And we always strongly advised against it. So it's better to really say that it's a virtual assistant or a kind of a bot, because in this way you are setting up the expectations of the user, but also if the user finds out that they are chatting with a bot and you didn't tell them, so then you are really diminishing the trust with the brand. So always be clear, always state the user that they are talking with a bot, and especially in some cases it has proven even to be beneficial. In case of some healthcare chatbots where the patients are more open to share their sensitive information to bots, or when the bot needs to provide some information such as order is late or some disappointing information for the users. In this case, actually, it has been shown that the users accept it much better from a bot than from a human. You want to manage the expectations, so just state what the bot can do, what the bot cannot do, just to guide this conversation in the way you want it to go. And at the end, try to end with some clear call to action, with some prompt, so that the users know what to do next. We can distinguish between different types of conversations. So it's very important to recognize this intent at the beginning. So if you have a user who's coming with some question or with some complaint, for example, in this case, how can they return the order? This is the case where you really want to show a bit of empathy. You want to be helpful. You want to provide these clear answers that have all the information that are needed, but you can maybe play around with some parameters that the channel offers you to make it more easy to read. Of course, you can also control how long are these answers, because most of us are just scamming. We don't read each and every word. And you can also use, in channels like WhatsApp or Viber, you can use bolds, emojis, or whatever will make this message more readable. And in the end, hand over if it's needed. So I think it's good if the bot can admit that it cannot help in some cases. And if you have some option for the agent to be contacted, the bot can offer it as an option once it recognizes that the user is not satisfied with the answers, or when it recognizes that it's something that it's out of its scope. In other types of conversations, like if you have a kind of a sales bot, you want it to be more persuasive. So imagine user is coming, you have their attention in this moment. Maybe they are not sure what to do, Maybe they are looking for some product, but they don't know. Still, these are the cases where you want your bot to really increase the motivation of the users. So you want it really to communicate the benefits. For example, here delivery and returns are free. You want it to decrease any barrier the user may have to do the behavior you want them to do. In this case, you want them to buy these shoes probably. So you will be addressing any questions user may already have in their head within the message. Also some emojis, try to make it engaging, and always in this case encourage the conversation. Never leave the bot just to provide the answer and stop. Because you have the user's attention, they are here. So try to engage them in conversation, try to bring them back, and try to bring them to do the behavior you want them to do. Of course, some rich media, videos, these are the things that can help and that are available now on most channels, so you can use them. And we have these simple transactional conversations where the user is coming, they have really clear things, what they want to do, they have clear goal, they know maybe they are doing it for, I don't know, 100 times. In this case, getting some data bundle. So this is where you want to be really, really straightforward. Be clear, be concise, help them to do this action and to go on with their lives. It's not every time that you need to grab them and that they want to have these conversations with you. Because remember, they are interested in themselves, not in you. Try to make it easy. This might look old-fashioned to some because we are using here the buttons, but just to show, even if you have them now, it's not a crime still. So you can use them to make this conversation easier, to make this flow really, really simple and logical for the user just to tap and go on and do what they want afterwards. And here it's important, of course, you have the accurate information, probably you'll have some integration uh, in this case, so you want it really to be clear, concise, and accurate. And ending conversation, we always advise that the bot never leaves the user hanging, so trying to ask them if there's something else they need help with. If the user decides, no, this is the end, then you can express them gratitude and just give them some information how they can return. And of course, bots are good for collecting feedback, so you can always collect some customer feedback, measure the satisfaction. Just try not to overdo it because then it may become a bit annoying for the users. So this is the conversation design process in a nutshell. 5 steps. We start with goals and outcomes, we move on to the users, go to the use cases, chatbot persona, and then the content. But I would add just one more step, which after implementation and go live is always needed. This is this continuous optimization. So it's always important just to monitor the bot, analyze the user's input. Maybe some clients' requirements are changing. Maybe just the environment is changing and you will need to adapt it. So your bot is never a finished product. So if you're a designer, developer, or simply someone with vision for innovation, today you have the power to create conversational experiences that the users will love. So let's all close off the gaps between users and chatbots and open up to embracing the world of engaging interactions and meaningful conversations. Thank you.